what I want to say is I think that we underestimate the difficulty, as you said, that China is in. So I'll just give you a couple stats. Together, America and China represent almost half of world GDP. But underneath the covers, what we keep forgetting time and again is America is the market that matters. China has an aging population. They have a very difficult case for foreign investment. In fact, foreign investment in China has fallen off of a cliff. They have very murky rules on IP, and they have a very difficult economic forecast if they shrink. And so when you look at the China case, they're in a worse position than we are, which is why they have to sort of come to the negotiating table now and figure out some reasonable thing. And I think this is what President Trump was alluding to when he said they want to come to the table and they don't quite know how.
Now, Chamath, Biden's old Treasury Secretary was on television today and not happy at all with Trump's recent moves. Watch this.
This is the worst self-inflicted wound that I have ever seen an administration impose on a well-functioning economy. We have enormous, almost prohibitive tariffs on China, which is one of our most important sources of imports.
Yellen's yelling. Your response, well, she's not really yelling, but so is a very well-functioning economy, Chamath. That's what Biden left us.
When the history books are written, I think we will look back at the period of the Biden administration, and I think there will be two unequivocal observations. One was that he was in mental decline and he was not really running the country. And the second is that in partnership with Janet Yellen, they pushed America to the brink of financial collapse. And the details of that, Laura, are very clear. The amount of debt that they created and issued, the amount of short-term obligations that they created for the U.S. Treasury are, frankly, unconscionable. The reality is that for the last 40 years, whether they want to admit it or not, Donald Trump has been right. When we admitted China into the WTO in 2000, we thought we were getting the best of it, but we didn't. We did a very bad deal, and they won overwhelmingly. Then, 20 years later, right at the beginning of COVID, we realized yet again how fragile the United States was, how incapable we were of resiliently protecting ourselves and taking care of our own interests. And so at the end of the day, the most important thing that we need to remember is there are 4 areas that matter. Everything else is debatable, but the 4 that are undebatable. Number 1 is AI. Number 2 is energy. Number 3 are batteries and rare earths. And number 4 is pharmaceuticals. And the reason is, if we can take care of those 4 areas, we will do so much for protecting Americans and building a great economy. And the thing is, the president has been onto this for much longer than the rest of us. And I think what you're hearing from the establishment is an inability to just acknowledge that he was right, they were wrong, and to course correct.
So they wrecked it and he's trying to fix it?
Well, I think the thing is that the global elite have deeply benefited from a 20-year regime of taking jobs and moving them anywhere in the world that allowed you to optimize for profit, number 1. It benefited from an economic regime of low volatility where you could keep interest rates effectively at 0 for quasi-forever. And the reality now is that what they see is an inability to create and scaremonger the White House into economic policy. And I think that this is very troublesome for them because they've been able to control from Wall Street or from London or from these other places how governments behave. And so what you see right now is them violently trying to push back and trying to create a narrative. So, for example, if you opened up the papers, there's an entire wing of the media that is now trying to say that the president, quote unquote, blinked. Why do they want us to think that? I think they want us to think that because they want to believe that they can talk about the stock market and then affect policy every 5 and 10 minutes. But I just want everybody to realize the stock market is back to where it was in May 26th of 2024. By no means is this a crash. Absolutely, there's volatility, but we are not in a place where it is time to all of a sudden revisit these aspirations that we've had. We are in a unique moment in time
Now,
where we have the ability to reset the global order, and we have to follow through.
Chamath, like in 15 seconds, the difference between working with the Biden administration or advising them and advising the Trump team, night and day?
In night and day. In all of those 4 critical areas, I've started companies, I've invested an enormous amount of money. They've never cared to understand what's happening on the ground. The Trump administration is different. Even when we disagree, they want to know, because it is the most important job in the world, what they do, and they're trying to collect as many opinions and come to the rational answer. And I really applaud them for that.